Championship for high schoolers. So this morning, myself and Wally is going to be hosting the show. Jeremy is actually out in the boat with his son and nephew, and we haven't had an update because the cell phone service is very spotty. So we're having to do a little bit things different this morning. We're actually talking off the phone, so it might sound a little different. But anyways, we have some special guests here, and we'll introduce them here in a few seconds. But we just thank everybody for making this possible for the Reeling for Grilling show. Wally, what do you think of this morning already?
Well, to see that many kids, you know, me being a high school and a junior high basketball coach, you don't get to see that many kids at one time, except for in the stands. And to see that many going out doing something they love, there's a lot of excited kids this morning, and almost makes you want to be young and do that again.
Yeah, absolutely. So we got some video of them lining up this morning. So my son Colson and nephew Tanner is out fishing with their papa, which he's the boat captain, and then we have Jeremy, Cole, and Maddox, and then we have Josh Goodwin with his son and nephew. And so we got 3 teams from Reeling to Grilling, but here, so I'm going to introduce 2 guests. So there is one particular guest that we've been trying to get on the show for a little bit, but the day that we had him to come in, we all got put under the hurricane condition here a few weeks ago. So without further ado, I want to introduce our friend, Mr. Tyler Wright. How you doing?
I'm doing well this morning, Tim. Thanks for having me on. It's good to see you and Wally again, and good to be here, part of this. I've been coming down for 5-6 years now, and just to see how the event's grown and the number of kids and how excited everybody is to be going out and fishing on a beautiful morning like this. It's special to be able to be a part of this, and thanks for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. And we also have another guest. If you watch any of the Major League networks, so we're talking about Major League Fishing, there's this unique voice that comes on, and it's very unique because he is the man, the myth, the legend in Major League. And he also he was telling us that he does some word announcements on other networks. But without further ado, I want to introduce Lurch.
Hey, good to be here, and Major League Fishing's been a big part of it. Been involved with announcing professional fishing events. I started back in 2004 with Bassmaster, did their opens, or won Bassmaster Tour, then the Northern Southerns, co-host the Classic, and then had the opportunity with Major League Fishing to shoot their pilot show for the very first Cup, and that was back in 2011, and then aired in 2012, and I've been a part of it ever since. And then once we went to the Bass Pro Tour, it switched around a little bit, so now I'm on site to do the post-game show. And if anybody saw Bobby Lane get his championship trophy at the Red Crest, I was the guy yelling and screaming on the main stage with him, handing that trophy off in the big check.
So to go into that particular show, I did rewatch it, or after we got to interviewing Bobby, and he sounded a little excited over there.
No, it was funny because a lot of people were pulling for Bobby, and throughout the whole convention center they had TVs everywhere. And you'd be walking one place or another, and all of a sudden you hear it, ooh, he lost one. And then you hear an and then it got to that final thing. That I think it's one of the greatest sport moments in professional fishing, and I think you can go across stick and ball sports too, of one of those moments where it had everybody on their edge, and then it finally went over that 2-pound mark, and he knew he had won the championship. So yeah, emotional. Even if people didn't personally know Bobby Lane, it was a roller coaster of emotion. It was fun to be part of.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I mean, that, just like you said, that moment. I mean, I've watched, shots at the buzzer, and that evens up with that. The extra inning home run. The walk-off, as they call it. That was the walk-off fish. To win it all.
Yeah, and Bobby Lane being who Bobby Lane is, so many people are rooting for him. He was a former Major League Fishing world champion, but the Red Crest is one that he's always wanted. We've only had 3 champions, so I think he's worn the crown well this year.
Yes.
And if you look at our banner here, when he came into our studio, he actually, out of all the championships, look what he signed it as. The Red Crest Championship.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Very, very proud of it. So, no, that's awesome. So just kind of picking you guys' brain. you know, we didn't sit down and go over questions or nothing. So just kind of give the audience a kind of a taste of what is going on today. So I know I was here, my father-in-law was here, we got here about 4:30 this morning, and people was already out here.
Oh yeah, it was busy around here.
I talked to actually Tyler called me Wednesday, I believe, and he was heading this way. So kind of give us a taste of what goes into this.
Well, you get down Wednesday, Thursday, whenever. And there's a lot that goes into it, but you know, Wednesday, Thursday morning is that's the fun time. That's to go out and fish and do. You got all the raffle and auction items we're going to set up that raise money for scholarships through the Polk Educational Foundation. So, you know, you start with that, getting that set up. Then the giveaway bags that these kids are going to get are probably, you know, I'd hate to shortchange it, but they're probably $250 value of baits and all that goes into that. So, you know, the snacks for the kids, getting all that stuff set up, and then, you know, today to see the weigh in and all the people coming across the stage holding up their fish and being proud of, and then Lurch is going to run a wonderful auction and raffle where we're raising money for scholarships, you know, for the future event and things like that. So, you know, it's fun to come down early and be able to fish, but then, you know, there's a fair amount of work from all the volunteers that come down, and appreciate the support that they give to make the event run smooth, because you do have so many kids out there.
Yeah, and speaking of that, kind of going off the top of your head, I believe there were 61 juniors boats?
I believe that is pretty close. I believe it was.
And 106 seniors?
I think it was 118. There might have been a couple scratches in there that, you know, people couldn't make it. I know one kid this morning had a 102-degree fever, so
that's not good.
So there were a couple scratches in there, but those numbers are, I would have to say, pretty close.
Yeah.
Well, something else too is, you know, Tyler's here with us helping. He helps out here too, but Tyler also fishes.
Yeah.
So Tyler, can you tell us where you're at in your fishing right now? I know you told me you fish again in January, but how did you get to that point where you get to fish in January?
So, you know, I got into the BFLs through FLW's organization a couple years ago, fishing as a co-angler, and then I was able to purchase a boat and learn a lot out on the back of the boat, and moved up to boater this past season and fished the trail. You know, we'll fish Kissimmee chain, Harris chain, Okeechobee, and our season ended back in September, and actually qualified for the regional event that we have that would have been in South Carolina. But the day I had to confirm my entry was the day Hurricane Ian was hitting. So I didn't know what kind of shape Polk County was going to be in, you know, coming out of the event. So, you know, I was proud to be able to qualify and stuff for it. But, you know, our season will get kicked back off at January 14th at Okeechobee, and we'll visit Okeechobee, here at Kissimmee, Harris, and, you know, hopefully qualify again and be able to go to, I think it's Eufaula in Alabama next fall. So, you know, that would be maybe a little better than going to South Carolina and fishing around docks. We could do a little bit similar at Eufaula as we can do here.
So, how is Eufaula compared to the lakes here?
Well, it's a ledge river lake that, you know, you can do a lot of offshore fishing on the brush piles, but with the rivers feeding it and stuff, you got bushes and hyacinth mats and things that you can flip that, you know, a Florida guy is going to be a little more comfortable. I mean, I call myself a Florida guy now because, you know, I moved here from Kentucky and I was used to fishing that stuff for crappie or speck. But now I come here bass fishing and I saw this grass the first time. I'm like, how do you fish it? Well, by a stroke of luck, I got introduced to this guy, Bobby Lane, that at the golf course, and we became friends. And you know, if you're going to learn from anybody about fishing in Florida, I don't know if it'd probably be hard to argue to find a better person to take you and help you out and stuff. So, you know, it's always a learning experience, and you find new things and what you're comfortable with doing. And, you know, I'm comfortable with that big rod in my hand and 50-pound braid and flip.
Yeah.
But you never know, Wally, that next one could be a 10-pounder.
That's right. You know, you learn from Bobby. I can say, I'm gonna tell you, I learned a lot from Jeremy this year. You know, Jeremy's a good fisherman as well, and but for you to pick all that up and being, you know, a bluegrass native, to pick that up and fish as well as you do, that's definitely, you put your work in and you learn well, so, congrats on qualifying, and good luck in the upcoming season for you.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I'll keep, hopefully Tim will, have me on and we can talk about it and keep it updated on how it's going out there.
And if Lurch ever wants to be on, I mean, we can call in, or you can call into our program.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And, so tell us a little bit about, so Lurch, where are you from?
I am in Illinois, about an hour and 15 minutes west of Chicago, not even a suburb. So a small little farming town. When I moved there, I think I had 5,000 people, and now it's up to maybe 18,000. So we're getting bigger. We're getting bigger, but you still pass a lot of cornfields along the way.
Right.
So, what is your biggest, I guess, excitement that you do when you're doing the announcements? What is the one thing you kind of look forward to at that point? Like if you're doing the classics.
The Red Crest?
Yeah, the Red Crest. What is kind of your in game when you're doing the announcement? That moment you're waiting and so excited to look forward to.
It's funny. A lot of people ask me because I also do professional motocross and supercross announcements. So stadiums across country, and then obviously outdoor motocross across country. And a lot of people do the comparison. They go, "Man, what do you like doing better? Do you like supercross or do you like fishing?" I said, it's two different animals. I said, it's pretty cool to make 40,000 people in a stadium stand up and yell and do the wave or whatever you want them to do. Right. But I go, when you go to the fishing, I go, a lot of them, 90% of them are blue collar guys that followed their dreams and made it. Right. And they're the people that you hang out with at your house that will come over and help you out at your house if you ever had. So there's a much tighter bond with the Major League Fishing or anglers in general. And I can't say how fortunate enough I am to be able to go to a job where I can just send my friends off to work and then be pumped on how they did with their day. I mean, wow. to have a bunch of people show up and say, "Hey, how was your day at work?" and then you show them how your day is. Yeah. I mean, it's pretty fascinating when you think it in that terms of, I get to go watch my friends go to work, and them as anglers, there's people there saying goodbye to you when you go to work. I mean, sometimes I can't even get the dog to wake up and say, bark at me when I leave the house in the morning.
That's a pretty cool way to look at it for sure, because they'll come in with, like you said, show you what they did at their, on their day of work.
Good or bad days, there's still people there cheering them on.
Oh, yeah.
Not everybody's going to have a great day. And my job is to put as much shine on that, because they're already down in the dumps if they're not having a good day. So let's have some fun. Let's turn it around for tomorrow. I'm very optimistic.
Yeah,
a lot of bad days too out there on that.
Oh yeah.
You're not always going to catch a lot of fish.
But a bad day of fishing is better than a good day at work.
Hey, tell it.
So we had this term of compound bad day. So my son and nephew were out here fishing Wednesday. And of course they didn't catch anything, but they did say there was about 20 boats around them not catching a thing. So my nephew was reeling his rod in, about $100 combo, boom, right in the water. So I would say that that's a bad day for him, but it is better than working or going to school at their point. But they're homeschooled, so I just wonder for you parents that are saying, why are they fishing? But they're homeschooled. So a couple things. So today, it's a lot. I mean, unfortunately, we couldn't send the videos this morning, but it's very sobering to see. The parents, the captains, maybe they might be uncles, might be grandfathers, might be dads, or might be
some big brothers.
A lot of them are volunteers too. Yeah. They just want to be a part and be able to take kids fishing. I think that's where the world needs to be, is to get these kids out and not making the bad choices and pull their heads up from the gaming systems and go enjoy all the beauty that's out here.
Yes.
And I think seeing the faces of these kids this morning, I mean, they're just pumped to be here. And I couldn't imagine walking across the stage if the kids are able to. I understand that if they don't catch anything, do they still get recognized? I'm not sure.
Oh yeah, they all come across whether they get a catch or not.
Yeah, especially they're getting close to maybe possibly winning a thing. I'm excited to see that today, and I would say at the end, this is something that's going to be etched in. Well, my mind and my heart for the rest of the time, because this is my first time being here, but I know it's
You'll be back.
Yeah. Absolutely. We're already talking about it. We're going to figure out a way to get this thing to work, right. Even if we have to bring a big antenna to something. But no, it's definitely, but I could see the last couple of days that, my son especially, he's been pumped up about it. And last night he was kind of getting quiet a little bit. And And
Quieter?
Quieter, yeah. He's already quiet, but he was getting focused. They were over there, doing their rigging the rods up yesterday. Me and my father-in-law were just kind of going over the boat a little bit and just making sure everything was working correctly. And they're just over there, and man, they are in the zone. So
game face on day early.
It was, and I can tell you, we got up at, I'm sure you guys got up pretty early too, but just to say this, I don't know if we even slept last night. I do remember laying down at some point, and then it seemed like I laid there, and at 2:45 we got up, but their faces this morning made it worth it, and to see them come across, when they're when they get back, and to hear the name called was one thing that was awesome this morning.
Well, I can tell you, I got up at my normal 4 o'clock time like I come to work.
Right. Yeah.
But this morning, I didn't have any problem getting up.
Yeah.
Because you can come down and you can see these kids and you know what they're going to get afterwards. And I'm not going to let it out of the bag what the champions of the Bobby Lane Cup are going to win, but they're going to walk away with some pretty good stuff that I'm sure Mom and Dad are going to be looking at and saying, now, do you really want that, or can that come to me? So, it's a special day for sure.
And there is, I understand there's a special celebrity coming, maybe?
There is.
Okay,
are you talking Chase Sexton?
If that's
it is going to be Chase Sexton, who is a two-time 250 Supercross champion, finished second in the Outdoor National Championships on the 450, rides for Team Honda HRC. Number 23, AMA Rookie of the Year a few years ago. He's now going to start his 3rd year in the Premier class, so looking for great things for him. He's just up the road. He's been a friend of mine, and I was at one of the Supercross races, and his dad, I was talking to Chase, and he goes, "Man, my dad's a huge fan of Bobby Lane."
Oh, wow.
And I said, "Well, I bet if you brought Bobby out here and watch you guys practice, I think you're going to clear him. I'm sure he'd take you fishing." And then they made the connection. Next thing you know, he's coming out here with a bike, going to sign autographs a little later on this afternoon. And then his first round of competition, that's going to be in Anaheim on January 7th. So yeah, before he heads to California for all the testing, he's going to make a show out here, and it'll be great to see him. And you look at some of the comparisons of, say, professional Supercross or motocross athlete. They've got trainers, they've got their riding coach, they've got everything like that. And when you look at a fisherman, the comparisons of the dedication to get to the top of the field. I mean, you look at some of the things he has to go through. And then you can look at a guy and go, okay, he's not a good flipper, so he's going to go work on that, just like these athletes go and work on the weak part of their game. And so yeah, it'll be great to see him. And you look at all the other people coming out. The auction items always go for pretty darn good money, and there's always a good selection. I know some of the stuff. I know Yinny's stepped up big. B&W trailer hitches amongst the mix. Lowrance units are up for the auction, and then a whole bunch of raffle prizes where you just drop your ticket. If your number's called, you win that. So that's when my lips really start moving.
Yeah, you probably didn't want to talk tomorrow when you get down.
So do y'all know some of the raffles, some of the prizes yet?
I know there's like 4 D3 freezers.
Oh wow.
And then
there's fishing, there's
rods, reels,
an assortment of fishing items, home goods for the parents and stuff. Some life jackets, the hitches, as Lurch mentioned. Well, there's that trailer right there.
What?
It's pretty much
full of all the raffle items, and they're spread out. So yeah, it's I pulled that thing yesterday, and it's got plenty of a load on it.
So anything that Lurch from your, and we're fixing to go to break here. Anything that I guess, what got you into this? I guess let me ask it that way. What got you into the announcing?
You're gonna have to go to break and then come back. It's a long story, but the short story is I broke my back in a car accident. My roommate at the time said they needed a judge for freestyle motocross. I knew nothing about it. Wow. He said, call them tomorrow and lie. He goes, what else are you going to do? You're in a turtle shell. So I lied. Next thing you know, I was judging freestyle motocross, picked up the microphone because they needed somebody to just run this little deal, and took a love to it. They took a liking to it. In 2001, I never let it go.
Wow, that's awesome. Well, we're going to go to break here and hear from our sponsors. for today, but I do want to give a shout out. So these jerseys we have on here that we've been sharing on the pictures, you know, it made it possible from these sponsors here. So Southern Line Solution, the Crossing Servicing, and then Fuzzle Custom Apparel, Bruiser Baits, and Flat Out Tungsten, and obviously the Grillin' to Grillin' 102.1. So I'm gonna take it back to you, JJ, and we'll hear from our 3 sponsors, and then we'll come back after the song. Back to you, buddy.